Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Zabi here, back again with Fate Unlimited Blade Works. We're on episode 10 of season 2, and in the last episode, so finally Archer perished, and not by the hands of Shiro, but by Gilgamesh. So I'm pretty confident, yeah, in saying that Archer and sort of Shiro sort of melded, not just in combat ability, but as a whole. Archer, I think, accepting exactly what the deal was. You know, Shiro was never going to change. I think in Archer's mind, he was sort of, you know, fighting a losing battle at the end there, and I think he came to terms with that. So that, you know, I don't think, you know, at the end there, he just allowed himself to sort of get stabbed. And then at the end, they got back out of the Unlimited Blade Works, and Gilgamesh fired off his Gates of Babylon after I think intending to hit Shiro, but Archer knocked him out of the way and took all of the fights and got absolutely obliterated. Like, he was gone. So yeah, that was nuts how fast he perished after that one. And then the other big thing is Gilgamesh using Shinji as the sacrifice for the Grail, which was so deserved, so absolutely deserved, regardless of how brutal it was. But yeah, we're just gonna get in episode 10, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Episode 10. Oh, right. So, plans are to destroy the Grail again. So just like what happened at the end of Zero, that's kind of the thing that they're going for, though. I mean, I'm positive the fact because she destroyed the Grail the first time, like, isn't that what caused the whole fucking thing to happen? Like, you know, it like leak and cause that whole fucking like fire, like the hell on earth kind of thing. Because I'm sure that's what ended up happening. So I mean, if they were to do it again, surely. Well, actually, yeah, I may be wrong, because they were saying that, like, if they get it before the Holy Grail is summoned, kind of thing, right? So if they destroy the vessel first, then that won't happen, I guess. So yeah, at Ryodo Temple, I figured as much after the sort of the end credits scene or whatever, where, you know, Issei and like 50 other people or whatever were like stretching out. I was like, yeah, he's like making it means that it's sort of like an empty place where he can do it without being disturbed. But of course, we know that he's going to be disturbed by Shiro, Rin, and Saber. So yeah, around the dinner table and whatnot, they were trying to figure out ways of like going up against Gilgamesh, and by using an armory of their own. Immediately, yeah, it clicked. Fucking Unlimited Blade Works. But my point was, I thought it was a noble phantasm. Yeah, as much as it's a reality marble, it's still like, I thought it was still like a noble phantasm, and a noble phantasm, I think, is something that's supposed to be tied to a servant. In which case, you know, Shiro isn't one. You know, so I was thinking that that's not the case. You know, but I guess if it's just able to be summoned by just, you know, essentially the equivalent of like brute force, but with mana, just, you know what I mean, supplying mana, enough mana to it that it would create whatever it was that Shiro sort of, I guess, desired. Because I don't know what he really. I would love to know, like, what a reality marble is like sort of like the interesting one to me. Like, that's the interesting noble phantasm. It was nuts when I first seen it in Zero with Ryder, and then seeing it again here, like, because I mean, I guess, yeah, I suppose, like, I'm looking at it the wrong way, because a noble phantasm doesn't exactly need to have a physical form, I guess. I just look at it, I just think of a reality marble, I'm like, it doesn't have a physical form. It's like a sort of, you know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like an imagination come to life kind of thing. So I was just kind of thinking, like, well, you know, whereas somebody like Archer, because he's a servant, he kind of just has access to it. He can, I don't know, I guess he says an incantation. I guess that's what's going to have to be the same in it. Shiro's going to have to be like, the bone of my sword and fucking and all that good stuff. Shout out Unlimited Blade Works, and I guess it sort of forms, but I mean, where does it stem from? That's my thing. Because I figure a Noble Phantasm with Archer, all you need to do is even say the incantation. I'm not even sure you'd need to even think about it. Whereas with Shiro, because he doesn't, because it's, I don't know. You got, I'd appreciate if like some of you guys like told me exactly what the parameters are of what a Noble Phantasm is, like, because the way I think about it, I feel like servants can just call upon them like it's nothing. Like, it's sort of like just, it's there. If it needs an incantation, then it needs one, but it's not something that needs to be really thought about. Whereas with Shiro, it's not like something you can just call upon. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I'm thinking he needs to think in his head, like, and visualize what it is that he's wanting, you know? But, I don't know. I mean, maybe it is something you can just call upon, because I suppose if him and Archer had that whole merging thing last episode, then I guess it may actually make sense that it is more something he can call upon, but he just didn't have the mana previously, but now he does. So yeah, Rin basically calling out the fact that, yeah, Gilgamesh would have saw, the reason why he saw Archer and sort of Shiro as his sworn enemy is because Unlimited Blade Works is sort of like a natural fucking, like, it's something that can be used as a counter towards Gilgamesh's stuff. I mean, yeah, I was saying it, like, it's... I remember when Archer previously said that it was like that what he controls is like an armory and whatnot, and he's saying stuff like, oh, I can copy your blade and stuff. I'm like, it's very fucking similar to Gilgamesh's, and then he's able to do like the whole, essentially use it as a Gate of Babylon type thing, where they sort of appear. He doesn't need to touch them, but he can send them flying towards somebody. And it does make sense in that regard then why Gilgamesh saw it as a fake. He calls him a fake because it's not the true it's not the true thing, whereas Gilgamesh's is like, he's prideful of the fact that his armory, that he owns everything, that those blades are actually the actual ones, they're not copies, whereas the ones that Shiro makes are essentially like copies. Now, exact, you know what I mean, like you couldn't look at them both and be like, yeah, it's a bit like out of place or whatever, but they, you know, he's able to copy them. So yeah, I mean, I also like the fact that, you know, it's a sort of, it can be acted as sort of like a double entendre, because he's sort of saying it by fake or by that regard as well, but also the fact that maybe his ideals aren't as they're not concrete made by himself, but more so like as an extension from Kiritsugu. So yeah, that was all good. So yeah, Rin's whole idea was to transplant her magical crest onto Shiro, basically giving them a link to each other, meaning they can share mana. So, I mean, it's an interesting one, and it kind of makes me seem like Rin could get fucked here, because I don't know, like, I guess they... well, I guess no, because if they're sharing mana, then they're both going to get fucked, really, aren't they? Like, if they're using up, like, a bunch... it affects you, right? If you use, like, beyond, like, a mana pool that you actually have, that it affects you physically. I was thinking, fuck, Rin might get fucked here, but they're sharing it, right? So they both have access to one whole pool. So if it goes down and affects one of them, it's going to affect the other as well, isn't it? So... I mean, I was just thinking, like, maybe, like, I could say, like, well, what's Rin gonna do now then? I mean, is that the end of, like, what she can offer? But I guess if she's going with, if she's going with Shiro, that's the thing. Maybe not, though. Shiro's the one to fight, right? Alright, so maybe Shiro is the one that goes up against him, and Saber and Rin go take on Shinji and you know, try and destroy that thing, I guess. In that case, then it would be like, there would be a good sequence. You can see like a good sequence where Shiro and Gilgamesh are going at it, and he's using up a shit ton of mana and whatever, and you'd have Rin, who's outside of the reality marble, like, you know, with Saber trying to take down the thingy, and her feeling the effects of it and getting worried and stuff. They'll you know, because they're linked, so you could you'd be able to say it. I don't know how much they are actually linked. I mean, the interesting thing was obviously Shiro saw Rin's memories, like, and well, at least a bit of them. Rin said that she would get a look at Shiro's secrets later on, so it's something that goes back and forward then, I guess. If they're both linked, I mean in what degree? Like, could there be a case where Rin could see through Shiro's eyes or something and see what's going on in real time, or what? I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, I saw that said during the reaction and whatnot, like, I want to know, because Saber pointed out, like, you know, I wished myself that I would sort of treasure these memories and stuff and keep them and whatnot, and it kind of made me think, like, what is their life like between wars, you know, like in between being summoned. So like so after Saber, I mean, I guess she sort of just faded in Zero, right? Between being summoned in UBW, like, what's their life like in between that? You know what I mean? Because she keeps memories over wars, so like obviously she remembers like Kiritsugu and stuff when she came into, you know, when she came into UBW and whatnot. So it's retained, but I don't know like what they're. Like, are they conscious during that whole point, and they're I don't know, sitting around doing that? I don't know what they're doing, you know. It's just something that I just thought would be like interesting to know. So yeah. Speaking of Saber, yeah, was she kneeling in front of a shrine there? And if so, is it Kiritsugu's? Because if so, then that brings it all full circle, kind of, you know. I guess, you know, the information that she's been given about Kiritsugu since Zero, right? So she's been given, you know, but people have been talking about him, and he's like, they've talked about him in such a different way to what she knew, that he changed around and whatnot, and maybe that, you know, that maybe she sort of changed her opinion of the guy, and maybe, I don't know, maybe she was sort of maybe praying in front of that shrine. I don't know if it was, though. I just thought it might have been. And obviously with it being there, I'm pretty sure Kiritsugu's shrine's in there, right? So, I don't know. I may be wrong, though, but, you know, I thought it was interesting nonetheless. And then obviously she went back into the sort of the outhouse and whatnot, and saw and had a look back where, you know, Iris Veil once lay and whatnot, you know what I mean? Memories and stuff. So yeah. I mean, I do find it odd the way that Saber was sort of like addressing it, and by like basically saying like, I wish to myself that like I would keep these memories, like almost like it's not a simple thing, whereas humans sort of go through life, and, you know, everything we see like sort of every day, like depending on the event and whatnot, how important it is or something, that retains in there is just a byproduct, where almost like the way Saber talks about it, almost like she, I don't know. I mean, it could just be like the way of her like presenting it as a way, like just saying to Shiro that these memories are important to me. It could be just that, you know what I mean? And maybe I'm just being a bit, like just looking a bit too far into it, like because of the way she's presenting it. But, you know, but yeah, I like a sort of like, I like Saber like looking back at the past and like the things that happened in Zero, you know what I mean? So yeah. I mean, that's one of the things I was talking about like a couple episodes ago, like in the post discussion for one of the episodes, like this idea that like, I'm glad I watched Zero first, because I worry that if I'd watched this first, like some people have done, that maybe I would have different feelings about Zero than I do. But I like to look at Zero as a sort of as such an integral and important part to everything, that almost like it has to be respected in a way, you know what I mean? Like kind of like how you would look at, you know, to elderly people, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like look at it as a sort of a pillar in the story, something that needs to be like remembered and respected, and because of that, and I worry that I would have had such a different outlook on some things had I watched this before Zero, you know. So I'm glad I did watch Zero first, you know, because I think I'm very like sort of content in the way that I look at things and the way things are. I mean, there is a sort of a very interesting way of like, you know, an interesting feeling you get when you recognize something from something that's already happened. So because you know, if I'd seen this first and I'm seeing Saber like look in the back, like in the outhouse and whatnot, and thinking, what's that all that about? Then going to Zero and being like, oh right, you know what I mean? So I mean, you know what would be great? Like if you could just erase your mind of certain things, you know. I think that's probably a bit too much power for a human to have, because I feel like that kind of, you know, it fucks with your overall like sort of experience as what life is supposed to be, like, you know, just to be able to just erase stuff. But just, it would be interesting just to see Zero first, Unlimited Blade works, and then erase your mind, and then do it the opposite way, and just see what the difference is, and sort of like reaction and stuff to things. But you know, that can't happen, so whatever. Shinji's getting fucked. He's still there. I'm positive he's still like aware of everything that's happening as well. Like, just to, you know, just to rub it in that little bit more. And yeah, and then Gilgamesh basically saying that like he's asking the whole thing to vomit out. Now his whole plan is to eradicate humanity with hell on earth, right? So what is he expecting the Grail to spew enough of that blood lava stuff to burn the whole world? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see that happening. You know what I mean? Like, I never really thought about it last episode when he was referring to, like, you know, to doing it for the whole world. But now that I sort of, like, I see it I see it sort of about to sort of kick off, and I'm, like, trying to think about it logically as much as I possibly could. Like, you'd think it wouldn't be able to. You know what I mean? I mean, Gilgamesh said it himself, right? That it's about the thing that fills the Grail, right? Not the thing that doesn't. Now, I mean, is it a case of it gradually fills up, you know, over the course of, like, Holy Grail wars and whatever, and then, so it only has a certain amount to spill out, right? It only fucking spilled out, like, in Zero, the last Holy Grail war. So depending on how like what this blood lava represents of what it's filled up with, like, surely that has an effect on how much it can actually spill, you know. And I don't think that's enough for the whole world. Though he did talk about, like, you know, it's filled with almost like, you know, the sacrifices, but it's like it's mana given off certain things, and because they're heroes, they have like that sort of. He said he equated them to almost like omnipotent, you know. So they have, I don't know, the people that were killed had so much mana within them that, I don't know, therefore it spills more. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know the physics. So. But I do find it odd that would ever happen. Like, you know, that it would spill enough to burn the whole world. You know? Because the one that happened last, like, in Zero, only burned part of the city. It didn't even burn the whole city, you know what I mean? It just burned part of it, so... You're going to need a fucking lot, Gilgamesh, if that's going to burn the whole world. But yeah, we'll just have to see. But that is also... Thank you, everyone, for watching. In the description below, I have links to certain things. Discord, if you need any information regarding any of my content, or you just want to come over and talk to me, I have a community, you're free to do so. SirMonkeySuit.com, my website, all my content is over there. You can also become a member and access the forums. There's like a reaction recommendations page where you can put in shows and stuff, and they'll be put into a poll when my next poll comes around. And Patreon. So I do have a Patreon. If you don't want to support me, I'd be very much appreciated. There's a bunch of different tiers and rewards depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's the early access, $5 a month, gives you access to shows a week early. And for Fate, it was actually 4 episodes every week. But of course, with this being finished, there'll be another show up right now that has 4 episodes a week. So if you're interested, get yourself over there, see what it is. $10, that is the full length, gives you access to my full length library. Everything I react to gets a full length. $15 a month, that is the exclusive tier, so that gives you access to a bonus show that I'm reacting to, which is currently 7 Deadly Sins, so if you're interested in that, get yourself over there and look at that. $50, that is the elite tier. Every time you pay $50, you get a choice of a show that you want me to react to, and I will react to it. It will go at the back of the list behind about 7 or 8 shows. Might take me a while to get round to it, but I will do eventually. But if you don't want to wait that long and you want your show to be reacted to next, then you want to get God tier, which is $100. But that is all. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.